Hello, I'm also in the Bay Area. Hi. Oh wow, your own CRM. That's very cool. Another question I have is, anyone using Cursor?
Hello, hello.
Hey Corey, how are you doing
Hey,
today?
there we are. Good. How are you?
Good, good. I was just asking the participants on where they're calling from and how they're already using Claude Code. It looks like we have folks from all over the US. Also, Laura's calling in from Estonia. It's very cool. We have people who are using Claude Code for data manipulation. Kyla built their own CRM. And we have George building web apps. Um, Caleb, a lot of automations. Oh, we got someone from the UK. Really awesome.
Sweet. I love it. Got some
Yeah.
pros on the calls.
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming and sharing with our community on Claude Code and how you can load in marketing skills.
Of course. Yeah, happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So I thought we could get started. I put together a very short agenda just to orient people on what we'll be doing today. So I thought we could first start with introductions for both of us, as well as explaining what uh, skills are in general. And then we're going to spend most of the time doing live demos, and maybe folks will even follow along to how to add marketing skills to their Claude and then walk through certain use cases. And then we will have the second half of this will be Q&A, where we can talk through maybe specific questions people might be having about Claude Code marketing skills or like AI marketing in general.
Sounds
Yep.
great.
Yeah, awesome. So let me give my intro first, and then maybe Corey, you could give your intro and explain what marketing skills are and skills are in general for Claude. So I'm Michelle. I am the CEO and co-founder of Flint. Flint is an autonomous website platform. We help companies like Cognition create landing pages at scale. So we build ad landing pages that double conversions. We also build account-based marketing pages that help to increase demo bookings. And we're backed by Excel and Sheryl Sandberg. And we're really excited to have Corey here today. Um, Corey, you want to give an intro and explain what skills are for Claude?
Sure. Yeah, maybe the 1 minute brief intro about me if you're not familiar. I spent my whole career in marketing. Um, Basically a lot of first time marketing hire gigs at startups, learning things the hard way and just trying to figure out what works on a shoestring budget with an impossible timeline and unrealistic expectations. And so I've learned to do a lot with a little. And this whole thing with Cloud Code for Marketing is kind of just my latest iteration of how to squeeze the most juice out of the lemon. And but yeah, anyways, so I've been doing marketing for about 10 years. About 3 years ago, I did a coding boot camp, and that was my first introduction into AI and these coding agents, actually, because while I was there, I discovered Cursor. And so, here I am. I wasn't really interested in coding. I was more just interested in building stuff. And I'd done marketing for so long, I really wanted to build my own software. And so, while I'm in there kind of trying to figure out what a for loop is and how to connect to API services and a lot of really difficult stuff. And then someone was like, "Hey, did you know that there's this new code editor that has ChatGPT in the sidebar?" I was like, oh my gosh, that sounds like a godsend. And so I became one of the original accept all curtain cursor button mashers, just vibe coding my way through a bunch of different things. Now, since then, I've built like, I don't know, a bunch of apps. And yeah, now it's definitely dangerously skip permissions. It's the YOLO mode, bypass permissions at all times. Um, but yeah, so now I've kind of been able to blend a lot of my skills around marketing with these coding, engineering, kind of product centric mindset of workflows. How do we automate? Like, I'm a lazy guy. I don't want to do things the hard way. I want to do things the easy way. And so maybe a couple of months ago, well, I've been using Cloud Code now since June of last year. Before that, I was like a Cursor power user. And I started using Cloud Code. And then I started to realize, huh, I wonder if I could do this for more marketing things because I have an agency. It's called Conversion Factory. We do SaaS marketing for startups. And of course, as a service provider as well, we're always trying to figure out how to do more with less, how to provide more value for our clients, how to make the most of our time, be more productive. So I started to kind of just pull in a lot of our playbooks, SOPs, templates into Claude Code and try to figure out how to build these little automated processes that run and that I can hand off to my team. And then in January, I believe it was, well, first of all, December, Anthropic comes out with Opus and everyone loses their mind because it's like, oh, this is finally like the first autonomous agentic, this is basically AGI. And then January, they come out with skills, and it immediately clicked for me. Oh, a skill is just a hard coded prompt, it's an executable SOP, it's the specialized knowledge and information and guardrails that AI needs in order to do things the way that you want it to be done, not just the way that it was trained on, a bunch of internet data randomly. And so selfishly, I launched the marketing skills repo because I had already had this big collection of little SOPs and documents that I was using in Cloud Code. And I wanted to see what other people were doing. So I was like, why don't I just make this open source so that other people can contribute? And then I kind of took off, and now apparently I'm an expert in this. But I'm happy to show what I've done. There's about 33, I think 34 skills. Maybe by tomorrow, I'm going to do another little update, and each one of the skills is essentially a job is to be done. I'm going to work on email marketing. I'm going to work on advertising. I'm going to work on SEO. I'm going to work on content strategy. And so it kind of starts this playbook that you can use Cloud Code to walk you through all the steps. It can connect with other tools and help you get to a much better output than Cloud Code would just by default.
And to clarify for the audience, you can also use them with Claude Cowork and Claude, right?
You
It's-
can. There's a little bit of finagling you have to do. I'm a huge fan of like the terminal's your friend. It's not scary. It's actually a lot easier than trying to connect things manually in Cowork or in Claude or in any of these other tools. Really, like most of the power is unlocked with Claude Code. And so I recommend people just jump in there. And if they really can't figure that out, then sure, go try and Cowork. But just limiting yourself to Cowork and the more browser-based tools, I feel like it's just doing yourself a disservice.
I totally feel that. The previous company I worked at was called Warp, and I was the first engineer there, and the whole thing was about modernizing the terminal and the command line because it is really
Hmm.
scary to have this black screen with like white text like flying from the bottom to the top. But it's a lot more accessible now than it was a few years ago.
Hmm.
Yeah. Um, I think folks are kind of dying to see what it looks like. Would you be down to give a demo of your terminal and maybe run through a few of these skills?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Let me get my environment set up here. Give me 1 second. It'll take me just a second to get things configured over here. Screens
Maybe
in the right
while waiting,
places.
if folks could like put in any like skills in particular you're interested in seeing, like type it into the chat, that would be great.
Yeah, that would be great. Would love to hear from people. Me, all right. I can also show the marketing skills. I don't know if people actually see it. I find that like we're all kind of figuring this out as we go. And there's a lot of things people will kind of be like, uh-huh, uh-huh, I understand. But then they're like, what? I no, I don't know what this is. And so I'm always happy to walk things through, walk through things from a very like fundamental level, and then we can take it from there and go slow. Sorry, my internet's being a little bit slow. There we go. Okay. Sweet. Let me start to share my screen. We'll prevent any from happening. Great. I'll move you guys over here so I can see. All right. Can you all see this okay?
Yeah.
All right.
What terminal is
Perfect.
this? Solo?
Yes, this is Solo. The latest one I've been using was actually using Warp and still do use it. Uh, I like Solo because you can have these little like nested folders. So it makes it really easy for someone like me who obviously has a lot of things going on.
Hmm.
You get to see a little bit behind the scenes of all the random stuff that I'm working on. But at the end of the day, it's a terminal, right? It's like fairly user friendly. One of the other things I'm looking forward to with Solo is that they're making a more traditional input text box in chat experience for the terminal because it's so unuser friendly. Like I can't just click in and edit text wherever I want to. The terminal is very fussy about that kind of stuff. So, Aaron, the founder, promised me that he was working on that, and I was like, "Oh, thank God. Okay, I'll pay for your tool. Just make sure you build that feature."
Hmm.
All right. So, a couple things I can show really quickly. This is the marketing skills repo. Um, what are skills? Skills are just markdown files, as Michelle mentioned, right? So there's about 34 here. We can click into any one of them, and I'll click on this one, AI SEO, since a lot of people are into that these days. You can click the actual skill MD file, and then a skill is going to have a couple different components. One, it's going to have this front matter. So front matter is uh, sort of like the metadata of the markdown file so that when the agent starts to read the file, it understands how to use this file and when to invoke the file. So it literally tells the agent, hey, when the user wants to optimize content for AI search engines, get cited by LLMs, et cetera, use this skill. Also, when the user mentions any one of these little keywords, also X, Y, and Z, right? You're basically giving the agent instructions on how to invoke the skill and when to pull it in at the right time. One of the nuances that I've done with the skills repo is unlike a lot of other skills and other skill repos, um, all the skills are meant to work interdependently with each other. So they're not just these siloed one-off things. They're all supposed to be this kind of compounding engine that work with each other. All of them draw from one of the skills called product marketing context, because what you'll find is that, for example, when I go into this AI SEO skill, it doesn't know anything about me. How is it supposed to know? Right. So it's going to start asking me questions. Oh, what is your business? What is your business model? Who do you sell to? What are your features? How do you compare to your competitors? A lot of product marketing types of questions that you would normally be asked. Right. And so instead of having to answer those questions every single time, product marketing context skill captures all those questions one time. And then now when I invoke this AI SEO skill, it always knows, hey, before starting, check for the product marketing context first. And that way it has all the right information it needs in order to provide good outputs for you. And then usually at the bottom of each of the skills as well, it'll sort of give recommendations of um, related skills so that it knows, okay, what are the things that are in and outside of the bounds of this skill in particular. Installing the skills is very easy. I can't do it because, uh, well, I already have them installed, obviously, because I created them. But all you have to do is there's a couple of installs right here. You can use this protocol called NPX. NPX is a version of NPM, which is a package management uh, CLI tool for your terminal. Again,
Corey,
I'm a
is it
fan.
helpful if I show folks then? Because I feel like this is kind of like
Yeah.
the
Yeah. If
hard
you haven't
part.
installed them,
So
oh man, it'd be great for you to show.
yeah, let me show you and then I will throw it back to you. So I've
Absolutely.
yeah, totally cleared my ward. Let me just like let me just remove that. Okay, so this is the command that Corey said to run. So I'm gonna click enter and I'm in a terminal. This is called warp. And then it kind of like talks you through what to do. So in this case, it says like, oh, like I get to select skills. Oh,
I think I selected all of them for you.
yeah, I click the space bar, which is how you select all, and then I'm gonna click
Mm,
enter.
hmm.
And then here, similarly, you have to pick which agents you want to install it for. And in this case, I'm picking Claude Code. So this is in my home directory in .claude, which is what Claude Code uses. If you run it in anywhere in any folder, any directory on your computer, Claude Code will first look at this spot here. So this is what it's doing. So I'm going to click enter again. And then this is where it's like, oh, do you want to install it in your current folder or you want to do it globally? I'm going to do it globally because I tend to run Claude from any other project.
Hmm.
Okay, symlink, proceed, yes. This is a very good developer experience. It's very
Thank you.
interactive where you can talk to it.
Worked hard on it. Well, me and Claude have.
Okay, sweet. One time prompt, you won't be asked again if you dismiss. Install the find scales skill.
Oh yeah, I think that's from it's from Anthropic or from Vercel, maybe. I forget. It's not from me, so
Okay, well, I'm dangerously clicking enter for everything. Okay, so that's how you install it.
awesome.
Any
I love it.
questions
Could we actually,
from the group? Go ahead.
and I would love to keep you in the driver's seat actually to demo a couple things if you don't mind.
Sure. Let's do it.
Sweet. If anyone has any questions, just feel free to pop it in the chat or just interject. But I would love for you to actually, maybe we can demo one or two or three, but
Mhm.
tell it to use the product marketing context skill and create it based off of uh, your URL, triflint.com, I think it is. This is like a quick little hack, right? If you just want to have something um, quick and dirty for it to spin up for you for demo purposes, right? Obviously, later on, you can go through and fine tune all the things that it makes. But if you do this and click enter, we should start to see it go.
Yeah, I just wanted to step back a little bit. So I have to run Claude as a command to open up this like Claude session, and then I can like start issuing natural language. So this is important to run in order to get into this like Claude code session. Okay, so now I'm clicking enter.
You can see that it successfully found the skill. And every time that it uses a skill, you'll see that skill invocation little feedback loop right there. And this is one of my favorite parts. I don't know how familiar everyone is with Cloud Code, but uh, this little like behind the scenes, under the hood logs that it gives you is awesome to watch because then you can actually see what it's doing. And I found personally too, when I was first learning to code and then using tools like Cursor and Cloud Code, just watching Cloud Code work helped me understand how programming worked and get a better understanding of like, okay, this is how coding's supposed to work. This is how um, I'm supposed to work in the terminal. These are the types of commands that it usually uses, and it gives you a better understanding for what it's actually doing. So it doesn't feel so mysterious and like, oh, is it going and deleting all my files?
Yeah, Cloud Code is being very excited now and is trying to read my whole code base because I'm currently on the folder with my code base on it. So I'm gonna
Oh,
try and
right.
get it to not read the code base. You can just proceed with the product marketing.
Clarko is definitely pretty eager. I thought that by telling it to just go and do a web fetch on the URL that it would skip looking through the code base, but alas, it had other
Maybe,
ideas.
maybe for a better demo, I'm just gonna like go to a
Oh, there we
different
go.
repo. I'm going to just go to my I'll just go to my home repo and then I'm gonna do it again.
Sure.
Um, yeah, okay. So use the product marketing skill on tryblend.com. Okay, so you loaded the scale and now it's fetching the website to auto draft the context. And I gave it permissions to go check out the website.
This is the fun part about doing AI demos is watching the AI work. And it's funny because I mean, I've done so many of these now. There's almost no way around it. Like I've tried to find little shortcuts and ways to get it to speed up to do things. And there's always a little bit of waiting involved. So we can also talk through it. But um, what it's doing also with the product marketing skill, you can read through each of the skills. It's just a markdown file. And so you can see the contents of what it's going to be cross referencing. But the product marketing context skill in particular is going to be trying to gather content around your ICP, your audience, your market, competitors, your product and features, capabilities, pricing, business model, um, even your brand voice and how you speak. And so that way, when you go to any one of the other skills, whether it's copywriting, content strategy, advertising, it has all the information that it needs. And when I say all, it can't be super thorough because again, um, the more information that you ask it to load and to cross reference, the more tokens it's going to burn and the more context window it's going to use just to like fill its memory with useful information. Um, so each skill, according to Anthropic, the guidelines are that it's not supposed to be any longer than 500 lines of code long. So those are the constraints, right? You can get around that by skills actually have subfolders and directories inside of them. So you can have a skill like product marketing context, for example, and then subfolders within it for each one of your, you know, major things like maybe brand voice or positioning or target market that go into more depth. But then you're risking AI kind of skipping things every single time you ask it to dive deeper into a folder structure. So it's usually best to try to consolidate things and summarize down into one skill file if you can, which is what I've tried to do. Sweet. Um, so one thing we could do here now too is it's got probably enough context. If you scroll up a little bit, you can see the summary of what it did for us. Oh, sorry, it was right there. Yeah, it's the V1. So what it captured is the products, the pricing, target, key differentiators, notable customers, funding. This will also just be, good generic information so that it knows about you, and then you can always fill in the gaps with more details later. Let's go ahead and ask it to do that AI SEO skill and provide a brief summary of the findings and report back here. That way, maybe we can get it to take a detour and take a couple of shortcuts to be faster. One of the things I found for these marketing skills, and I think that everyone will find, is when you're doing things like programming and design, those are already product centric, developer centric tools and workflows. So you're always going to have access to those via developer tools like APIs and CLIs and MCPs. When it comes to things like marketing tools traditionally didn't have to have a great developer experience. So maybe they have an API. Who knows what endpoints are available? It's very rare that they have a CLI. Who knows if they have an MCP or what's available in there? And so, really, it's not a matter of what you can, if you can do it, it's more a matter of like what you can do with those marketing tools. And as everything now starts to become more agent first, I think a lot of these marketing tools are going to step up their developer experience and make these APIs, CLIs, MCPs more of a first class citizen of like their product offering. But until then, you're sort of limited to what those third party tools allow you to access within them. Um, Otherwise, when it's going through things like an SEO audit, for example, giving it access to your code base is going to provide a lot better results than having it go and do a scan of the HTML on a WordPress page, right? Because they're just going to be a different level of depth it has access to. So it's not necessarily its fault if it's not providing the level of detail that you want it to. You have to get it access to all the right data points it needs. All right. So hopefully it didn't roast you too hard. Um,
It's okay. I'm happy to be roasted.
So it tells you what's working, some critical gaps, and
Mm,
it's pretty amazing because I take it for granted even, right? But this is the kind of stuff that people used to take, weeks or even months to produce, and then we're just doing it in a couple of minutes, and we're like, okay, yeah, that's pretty good. But it's like, wow, actually, this is like really in-depth, good advice here. That's very actionable. And then the power is then if again it has access to your code base, now you can just say, cool, fix everything. And then
yeah.
AI goes and does its magic, spins out parallel agents, and implements all the fixes you need in order to, uh, get a perfect score the next time you run this audit.
I'm going to try something fun. I'm going to see if we could action on this feedback right now and post a blog post on Flint.
Okay, let's do
This
it. Let's
might
see.
this might or might not work. This is a live demo. We'll
Yeah.
see.
Again,
Okay.
all depends on what it has access to. So you tell me. I don't know what tools you use or what
Okay.
do you want it to dig into, but we'll see where it goes.
So it seems like they want me to add a Flint versus Unbounce page. Let's try that, why don't? So, okay, all right. Let's make a Flint versus Unbounce page. Um, Send, write some research, and then instruct the Flint MCP to generate this page.
Ooh, I like it.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because while a lot of marketing tools don't yet have APIs or MCPs, um, a lot of information is actually extractable via uh, web fetch or like browser use. Like sometimes
Mm-hmm.
I would see my Claude actually open like Google Chrome and then start clicking around to get information for me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. And the tooling is just going to get better over time. I think that eventually Claude Cowork, Claude Code, they're all probably just going to converge back into being Claude. And that's
Yeah,
just more a matter of like what you want it to have access to and the types of tooling that it needs to execute on what you want it to. But yeah, from like a fundamental level, within user working within the terminal gives you the most access and the most tools to work with.
I agree.
All right. And voting this Flint skill. Awesome. Now we're stacking our skills. I'm curious
Yeah.
too to see how this plays out because there's also a competitor comparison skill, and so we could
Mm,
also cross reference, and based on what it outputs, we could have it match against that skill and make some edits, beef it up a little bit, make sure it's up to snuff.
that would be really awesome. Yeah, so the speaking of marketing tools having MCPs, it was very important for us to build that as a first class citizen. So Flint is this like auto-optimizing website platform and it's totally can be orchestrated through MCP. Okay, so this is like a very common thing that would happen is that you would, I think there was a question in Zoom, like, did we walk through how to set up MCP and API? So when you're in the course of like using Claude, it might need to then connect to other tools and they might ask you to use like an MCP. And this is like what it would tell you. So in this case, it says, hey, you need to add Flint's MCP to your Claude code. You might see this for like other kinds of MCPs, for example, the Google Ads Manager, or maybe to connect to Ahrefs. You're going to get very similar kind of feedback. And so it would say like, oh, connect it to your terminal. So what I've done right here is that this right here is a terminal command, but I'm pre-penning it with an exclamation mark because then that tells Claude that this is actually a terminal command as opposed to natural language. So I'm going to run this. So this is one way for you to stay within the Claude session without needing to go back into your terminal. Oh, lol. Okay, I
Yeah,
missed.
I think if you do shift exclamation point and then you can write that same command. That does bash mode.
Uh,
Yeah. There we go.
got it. Okay. Yeah, I think what happened was there might have been like a space. Missing required argument, command, or URL. Okay, give me a sec.
While you're doing that, I can answer some questions and
Yeah, thanks.
drop some links in the chat. There's my link to the GitHub repo for marketing skills. They're all completely free, open source, and all you have to do is spin up Cloud Code and ask it to add it to your computer, and it can walk you through how to install it in your computer. Um, Martina asked a question for the page you're writing now, Flint versus Unbounce. Does the SEO skill have access to external SEO tools to do keyword research? Good question. It doesn't out of the box, obviously, because I'm not going to give you my API key. But if you want to grab your own API key for a keyword research tool like Ahrefs, data for SEO, keywords everywhere, so on and so forth, pick your tool of choice. Then, yeah, the SEO tool, the content strategy tool, the programmatic SEO tool, they can all start to implement the plans and also augment the research with real keyword data using the APIs of one of those tools. You just have to have Claude Code save your API key for one of those securely. I would recommend putting it in your shell or, not just saving it to your memory in the chat. But yeah, that allows it to then go and augment all this research with real keyword data. And Lauren asked, you need to run the product marketing skill first before jumping into other skills. You don't have to. I would recommend it because at some point you're going to start answering all the same questions over and over and over again. And the product marketing context skill helps you to not be so redundant and repetitive. Kayla
Okay,
asks,
let's
oh, sorry, go
say,
ahead.
sorry, let's just say that this might not actually be working. So maybe we can continue with the demo on your side of the computer.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, the only other one I was going to show you was doing content strategy, or I can show some of these use cases with the SEO keyword research if that was interesting to everybody.
Yeah, let's do that. There's a lot of interest in AEO.
Perfect. All right, let me get this back up here. Okay, cool. Let's see. So I can show a couple other things here too. I have a little demo environment for a form building tool that we can use to kind of show before and afters of things that we build. May or may not get to that. Some of this isn't super interesting to watch happen live, but let me ask it really quickly. Data for SEO via my shell. I'm just going to make sure that I'm not hitting an error and that it actually does. I did that right before this, but Cloud Code is a little bit funny, so sometimes it's Oh yes, thank you for showing me my password. Now I have to rotate that after this call.
Happens every
So
time.
let's do. Normally it's like, oh yeah, let me show you the encrypted version. That's the first time I ever see it do that. It's annoying. Um, so let's say we're working on a form tool SaaS called Formcraft. Let's do some SEO keyword research. Please suggest a couple of keywords for me to target. And I'm going to leave it pretty open-ended so that um, it can ask me questions and or I'm not like over prompting it, which I feel like is a big thing now because in the past, maybe even like just a year ago, a lot of the advice about working with AI tools was you have to give it a really specific prompt. You have to tell it exactly what you want it to do. And I just don't think that that's true anymore because what I found is that sometimes the instructions that we give to the AI tools are so specific, but specific in the wrong ways. Maybe we're telling it to do it in a way that isn't actually optimal or won't get you the best output or result. And so sometimes I like to keep things a little bit more brief and open-ended so that it can figure out the best way to go and solve this problem or to answer my question or to, figure out a plan for me. I don't always have to come with the plan. Sometimes I can work with the AI to build the plan. All this is doing right now is I've connected a um, keyword research API called Data for SEO. And then I grab the API key, I store it securely, and the proof is right here in the recording because my password was right there for everyone to see. And then it's going and pinging that API to grab research, but it's making the prompts on the fly, looking up keywords based on what it thinks that it knows about me. So I've given it that little bit of context, and this is why the product marketing context skill is so important. So it's going to say, I wonder if a keyword like online form builder is interesting for something like Formcraft. It's going to go and grab the keyword volume for it. Competition is fairly low, it says, even though that has a CPC of $18. That's great. Um, Show me some more with a variety of keywords for me to target with blog posts, um, landing pages, feature pages, comparison pages, and maybe even some free tools. I'll like push it a little bit to think outside the box of maybe the standard low hanging fruit that it would probably look for, right? That everybody's going to be searching for. And this is one of my favorite parts to use AI as well, because a big part of marketing, especially for SEO, is you're just kind of brainstorming. You're like, what would people be searching for? It's not always going to be super apparent. And even when you use a tool like Ahrefs, you still have to do the keyword seeding yourself, where you're like, I wonder if people are searching for X, for Y, for Z. That process now becomes a lot faster and and a lot more thorough with AI because it can brainstorm a lot faster and a lot more thorough than we can, right? So now it's going to go and do all the keyword seeding for me and come back. So now we have ideas for blog posts. Now we have ideas for landing pages, for feature pages, for comparison alternative pages, free tools. And now because it has access to this code base, I'm going to say, great. Um, let's build the form builder for WordPress landing page. Make the page in my local host here. This is a very, very rudimentary prompt, but I'm trying to just tell it to do exactly what I want. When you're done. And this is to me how marketing should work now is there's a big difference between me being the middleman between AI and my tools, where I'm always pinging AI and then I'm coming back to my tool and I'm pasting in what AI is doing. That really slows things down and makes for a kind of messy process that uh, you become the bottleneck of your own productivity. Whereas instead, when I allow Claude Code to be at the middle of this process, now I don't have to be the bottleneck. It can go and interact directly with my tools, do a lot of brainstorming, planning, orchestrating, work in parallel. And it's kind of like I'm multiplying myself by multiple times, right? Because I don't have to just have one of these terminal instances up. I can have three, four, five, six, seven. And now I'm going beyond what I'm just used to doing without AI. You can see it's working here. It should have something up for us here in a second. Okay, there we go. Perfect. I feel like I'm so in sync now with AI and like knowing its timing. Oh
Hmm.
no.
Live demos are really tough.
Oh,
Oh,
I think I just
there it
had to
goes.
refresh
It
the
is refreshing. Yeah.
there we go. All right, cool. So now we see an actual landing page. WordPress plus Formcraft, the form builder WordPress deserves. We have a couple of like we have a how it works section, a feature section, testimonials. I think this is a pretty good start. I can even say this is great. Now use the copywriting skill to improve the page, beef it up, and follow CRO best practices. And again, this like skill stacking too is where a lot of the magic comes in, where I'm not just using one skill through. Now I'm taking it and I'm cross-referencing it always with these skills that have all the best practices, all the things I want it to do and to not do. Um, you can loop this across multiple pages, right? So imagine that I didn't ask it to just create one page, I asked it to create 10 pages. And now instead of me going through and checking every single one against the copywriting skill or my own copywriting framework personally, I can create this skill and have it do that programmatically. Okay, now all 10 are being checked in parallel. They're all going to look through the same skill, the same structure, the same best practices, the same things that I have infused into into my copywriting skill. And one thing to note here too is that skills, one of the magic here is that it gets downloaded on your computer. So, sure, you have the power of Corey Haynes and my brain as a marketer here on your computer to use. But if there's anything that you don't like about the way that I've created the skill, that's totally fine. You can change it because it's on your computer. You're not like locked into anything about the way that I've done things with these skills. You can overwrite, you can change, you can augment, you can totally even delete it if you don't even want it, right? But if you're like, huh, Corey uses some M dashes. I do. I actually really like the M dash, and I'm sad that ChatGPT killed it for everybody. But I'm still on this train of like, we got to bring it back and like take back the M dash from the AI. But if you're like, I really just don't like M dashes, cool, take it out of the skill. Now it doesn't have to be something that you have to adhere to anymore.
Can you walk through to the group how you would edit the skill?
Sure. Yeah. Let me just finish this thought here. Now that's done,
Yep.
and we can put a note on this. So it gave us a little summary. Okay, here's what I changed and why. From the hero, we rewrote the clever into something more specific and pain led, right? So WordPress forms without the plugin, we'll see that. Problem agitation, social proof, how it works, a midsection CTA, features, a comparison table. That's new. That's cool. Testimonials. Yeah. So now this is more of like a uh, something that I would have written, right? Because then this is my copywriting skills. This is a lot of it's going to follow my best practices and things that I like to infuse in it. You're not going to see a lot of the same kind of AI slop copy. I've kind of figured out how to remove a lot of that and prevent it from happening in the first place. But this is fast, right? I mean, this would have taken me a week before, probably, right? Like really painstakingly going through this line by line. And I can still take the time to edit this manually and I'll give it little feedback of, change X and let's tweak Y, right? And it'll go through and make those changes. But going from 0 to 90 now is way, way faster. And then I can spend the time manually to take it from 90 to 100. Um, Now, if I wanted to edit one of the skills, let's see, let's edit the copywriting skill. Open the MD, please. It's pretty simple. All you have to do is manually edit the markdown file that you now have installed on your computer. Um, so it's going to go through and it's going to find the .claude skills where this all lives, which by the way, anything with a dot in front of it is going to be sort of hidden from the user. Um, And so you usually have to ask AI or from the terminal, you have to get it to open it up or edit it for you. I have it popping up in my Markdown editor, but it's not showing up for me. Give me 1 second. It's weird. I think my I'm running out of RAM and my Markdown editor is not working. Of course. 1 second. Maybe I can restart this. Open it in text edit instead. 1 second. See if I can get it to.
So in the meanwhile, I'll answer a question from Martina. So Martina asked about how a skill shouldn't have more than 500 lines of code. So is it possible to make a complex skill, for example, copywriting skill that has access to PDFs of top marketing books on copywriting? Um, the recommendation there would actually be to run a different process that tries to distill these top marketing books into 500 lines of code. Because otherwise, if the skill needs to call into the books every time, then it would take up a lot of context. What would you say to that, Kari?
Yeah, I would say like the skill can summarize, and then within the skill, you can have it go and look up another file that you have saved somewhere else, possibly locally. And that way it can kind of run through and read the whole thing. But again, you have to think about the context window and you want to save it. Like, does it really need to read through 30,000 words of text in order for it to get what it needs? It might be better actually to create a summary of it and a bullet point best practices list, and then have that be the skill or another file within the skill subfolder that it can reference to go more in depth if it needs to. I apologize. I think my computer is like right at the max of with Zoom and all these things running, it won't open my text editor. But if you have it open on your computer, literally all you have to do is click on the file and open it in a text editor, and you can edit the text yourself for any of the copywriting skills or sorry, any one of the skills, including copywriting or otherwise.
So one question that was asked previously was how do you train it to write in your voice or your marketing tone and voice? Like what would be a command that folks would might run?
Yeah, I would tell them to use first of all the product marketing context skill. You can also create a separate skill just for your brand voice if you want to. Let me show the anatomy of a skill because that'll help to illustrate the point here a little bit. Um, so this is the product marketing context skill, and it's the skill folder. And so within this, we have a couple of subfolders, and then we have the skill itself. So one of the points here in the skill is going to be it's going to be asking about your brand voice, right? This is just one of the points here. But what you can do also is you can provide templates and examples that drop into this skill here. So you can add another file that says brand voice example, another file here that says um, newsletter example one, blog post example two, tweet example one, and those can be uh, more text to fill the context window with actual examples from you so that it can replicate these exact wordings and and phrasing and how you would normally talk. And that's one more thing too where I think we're all very used to, we type into our Claude, write me a tweet, here's a couple of examples, and you like drag in a couple of files. Well, now those files just live in a skill folder, and so you don't have to drag them in every single time.
Yeah, so we have 9 minutes left. Let me show folks how to edit the files.
Yes, if you can, that'd be
Since
great.
yeah, Yeah, sure. Just want to be thorough here. So, actually, let me share my whole desktop. Okay, great. So, um, Corey mentioned that these Markdown files in the folder can actually be edited. So, what you would do is you would um, say, like, get into one of these files, um, and then you would write open, and then, oh, I'm actually using Warp, so it opens up weirdly. Let's see. Okay, this is a feature of Warp. If you want to make it easier for you to edit Markdown files, like Warp actually allows you to command click, and then it will actually open the Markdown file, so it's easier for you to read.
I like that.
And then you can also go in and edit it directly while you're still inside the terminal. So in this case, maybe I don't like the way that they're doing A/B testing. Maybe for me, um, I want that to be, okay, what's a good, actually, let's go back to the other example of copywriting. What is it called again? CD
It's just called
copy,
copywriting,
copywriting. Okay.
not without the dash. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to click this again, and then you'll then be able to edit it directly. For me, it would be please do not use M dashes. Um, if you have to use an M dash, replace it with a colon. And then you would save this. And now every time you write use the copywriting skill, it would make sure not to use an M dash. And
Love
then
it.
I want to show you what it's like if you wanted to use the marketing skills, but in a more visual editor. So this right here is Flint. So Flint is a autonomous website platform that copies your design system and then helps you generate many landing pages that are completely in your style. So to sign up for Flint, go to tryflint.com, and when you sign up, it would uh, take around 1 to 2 hours to copy your brand into Flint, and then from there you can actually publish it on your domain, including all of the analytics. So we actually, because Corey is amazing and made marketing skills open source, we actually load in Corey's marketing skills into our Claude agent. So in here in our Flint agent, whenever you call it to change copy, for example, it actually uses Corey's marketing skills repo. So in this case, um, I might go and find a specific um, item. Perhaps I might say, okay, I actually want to rewrite this page using the copywriting skill. And then it sends out a AI request, which then actually uses the marketing skills. It found the relevant skills, uh, and then it's going to now start rewriting the page based on that skill. So it's looking
Super
for
cool.
my voice and tone and context. And then I'm also checking to see. I actually managed to get the Flint MCP to also be working. So you know how just now we were trying to like stack the scale of SEO. So I told it, okay, now based on everything that we've learned from this SEO audit, go write a new page into Flint. So it's also now sending a request into Flint to build that page.
So excited to see what it comes up with. I love seeing like my copy everywhere. This makes me happy. I'm such a I'm such an control freak.
Okay, let's see. We can look at its reasoning while the site is loading. It says, see what Flink can do for you. Replaces a feature list with a concrete promise. It's pretty good. Answering the question from Kyla, do you give it reference folders from the desktop to show what examples? Um, in this case, it doesn't connect to your local skills. Um, Currently, we use the marketing skills directly from the GitHub repo that Corey has, and then your site within Flint actually maintains its own marketing skills. So maybe you might want to like update your copywriting skill within Flint. Then what you would do is like, hey, I actually don't quite like the copywriting skill that was used. Um, can we update it to um, make sure that contact sales forms always mention the sales word, for example. So Flynn will maintain your marketing skills for you. Um, Under the hood, Flynn is actually a its own marketing website code repository that has all of your marketing skills, context about your company all loaded up. And on top of that, everything that you see is directly editable, so it's a lot more approachable. You want to swap out logos, you can click in here and then you can swap it out with um, the asset library that we've also provided. Yeah. And let me see whether that API request is in yet. Not quite. Yeah. So today we've covered how do you install marketing skills, how do you use Cloud Code and marketing skills together, how do you continually update your skills so that your Cloud Code will continually get better at marketing. And then we also showed you how you might stack that with Flint so that you can generate pages in in the Flint platform that are on brand. You can directly go there to edit it. And I also show you how you might just use those marketing skills directly if you were to use Flint. Um, a lot of people have been asking about the recording. I'm going to turn it into a YouTube video and then I'm going to put it into a landing page I'll send out after this.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for
Yeah,
having me.
thank you
Um,
so much for coming, Corey. We learned a lot from this session and thank you so much for your contribution to the marketing community.
mhm. Yeah, of course, no problem. If anyone has, I know there's a lot more questions. If you have more questions, need help with things, you can find me on Twitter at Corey Haynes Co. I'm on LinkedIn, Corey Haynes. My personal site, corey.co, has links to all the other things that I make. There's also a website, codingformarketers.com, which is a nice little step-by-step tutorial for getting started with using agentic AI tools like Cloud Code for marketing. And then, of course, my agency, if you do need some more hands-on help, conversionfactory.co. And yeah, always happy to help. So don't be a stranger.
I will send all these links to folks after this call. Thank you so much, Corey. Hope
Thank you.
everyone has a good day.
All right, guys. Thanks for having me.
Bye.